Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another ASMR video. For today's video, we're going to be going over the Champions League round of 16 and be making our early predictions since the matches aren't being played until February. But we're just going to be making our predictions based on the stats we find online of these teams during the Champions League campaign this season. And by the way, all these stats are from the official UEFA's website, so I'll leave a link down below so you guys can access the website and navigate yourself through to see the same stats as I am gonna be giving you this video. It's gonna be a very simple video. I'm gonna go over each and every fixture, just lay out some stats, and then give my prediction on who is going through. Very simple. Again, it's my opinion. None of this is like 100% true. Nothing of that. It's just my opinion. So if you disagree with what I say, you're free to disagree, and you're also free to let me know down below who you guys think will win these fixtures and who will go through and who will not. So let me know down below. But yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so for the first fixture we have is FC Porto versus Arsenal Football Club. FC Porto is a Portuguese team. So they've so far played 6 games in the group stage. Out of those 6 games, they've won 4. They have drawn 0, and they've lost 2. They have scored 15 goals, but they have conceded 8. And their form from the last 3 games is a win-loss and a win. Their biggest win is a 5-3 win over Shakhtar, and their biggest loss is a 2-1 loss against Barca. Arsenal, on the other hand, have also played 6 games in the group stage, won 4 games, drawn 1, and lost 1. They have scored 16 goals and conceded 4. And their last 3 games, their form from the last 3 games is a draw, a win, and a win. Their biggest win is a 6-0 victory against Lens, and their biggest win is a 6-0 victory against Lens, and their biggest loss is a 2-1 loss against Lens. So, played the same amount of games, obviously. They both won the same amount of games, except that Porto's lost 2, and Arsenal's lost 1 instead. And the other thing is that Arsenal has drawn once, and Porto has not drawn once. They have scored similar amount of goals. Porto has scored 15, Arsenal has scored 16, but the conceding end of it is that Porto has conceded twice as many goals that Arsenal has, and Arsenal's form has been better with 2 wins and a draw, as opposed to Porto with 2 wins and a loss. Their biggest win against Shakhtar was Porto. Porto beat Shakhtar 5-3. Still considered 3 goals, even if it's the biggest win. They both share the same scoreline for the loss, but Arsenal got a clean sheet against Lens when they got their biggest victory, which is 6 goals. My final prediction for this too, in terms of goal scoring, they both can produce a lot of goals, but in terms of defending, Arsenal has the edge, and current form as well. They're both, Arsenal kind of has the edge on them in current form as well. So I'm gonna go with the Arsenal over Porto in that first fixture. The second fixture, we have Napoli against FC Barcelona. Napoli against FC Barcelona. Napoli has played obviously 6 games, won 3, drawn 1, and lost 2. Scored 10 goals, conceded 9. Their last 3 games in their form is a win-loss and a draw. Biggest win is 2-0 against Braga, and their biggest loss is the 4-2 defeat against Real Madrid. Barcelona have played 6 games, won 4, drawn 0, and lost 2. They have scored 12 goals, conceded 6, and their form has been last 3 games have loss, a win and a loss. Biggest win was the 5-0 against Antwerp, and then their biggest win is 5-0 against Antwerp, and their biggest loss is 3-2 against. Alright, let's start the whole segment over. FC Barcelona played 6 games, won 4, drawn 0, and lost 2. They have scored 12 goals and conceded 6. Their last 3 games were a loss, win, and a loss. Their biggest win is a 5-0 victory against Antwerp, and their biggest loss is a 3-2 or loss against Antwerp as well. In terms of stats, the Barcelona's won one extra game. But in terms of losses, they both have the same amount of losses and draws. Napoli beats them by 1. In terms of goals scored, again, similar amount of goals scored, with Napoli scoring 10 and Barcelona scoring 12. In terms of goals conceded, Barcelona has conceded half or less than, or 3 less than Napoli. Napoli has conceded 9, but they have scored 10, so their ratio goals scored and goals conceded is +1. And in terms of Barcelona, would be +6. So you can tell that Barcelona is a bit better at defending or keeping a low amount of goals scored on. In terms of form, I would say Napoli is in better form with a win, a draw, and a loss, as opposed to Barca with a win and 2 losses. But obviously, the difference is in their biggest win, where Barca scored 5 and Napoli scored 2. This is going to be a fairly even match, in my opinion. Both teams look very, very similar in terms of matching their stats. But if I were to pick one winner, I'm going to pick FC Barcelona, purely because of their differences in goals scored to goals conceded. Barcelona has the edge in that, and I believe that is the big factor in these knockout stages, where scoring goals or not conceding as many goals is a huge factor when it comes to these aggregate scorelines. So, my prediction is that FC Barcelona will advance. The third fixture, we have Paris Saint-Germain or PSG against Real Sociedad. Now, PSG has played 6 games, won 2, drawn 2, and lost 2, scoring 9 goals and conceding 8. Their last 3 games were a loss, a win, and a loss. Their biggest win was against AC Milan, 3-0 victory, and their biggest loss was against Newcastle, a 4-1 defeat. Real Sociedad is one of the many teams in the knockout stages that are still undefeated. Real Sociedad have 6 games played, 3 wins, 3 draws, no losses, and 7 goals scored and 2 conceded. Their last 3 games have been a draw, and a win. Their biggest win was a 3-1 win against Benfica, and their biggest loss has yet to happen. They haven't lost, so maybe they don't even have a big loss, but they have not lost yet. Between form, obviously, Real Sociedad is in way better form than PSG. PSG have conceded 8 goals and scored 9, so they have a +1 goal difference, as opposed to Real Sociedad, who has scored 7 but conceded 2 and have a +5 goal difference. Now, something to keep in mind is that Real Sociedad, although undefeated, they don't score that many goals in terms, as you can see, of the goals scored in the group stage. But they have a pretty good defense, only conceding 2 goals in 6 matches, which is very impressive. But PSG scored 9 and conceded 8, so Real Sociedad has a upper hand, not only in form, but also in the way they defend and the way they attack as well. But it is PSG. They do have factors or X factors in their team. Mbappe being the most noticeable one, but I still believe that Real Sociedad will take this, because between PSG and Real Sociedad, I believe Real Sociedad will win. So yeah, that's my take. PSG against Real Sociedad. Real Sociedad will go through. Moving on to the fourth fixture, we have Inter Milan against Atletico de Madrid. So Inter has 6 games played, 3 games won, 3 games drawn, and no loss. So yet again, Inter Milan is undefeated. They have scored 8 goals and conceded 5 in their last. Conceded 5, and their last 3 games have been a draw, and a win. Their biggest win is a 2-1 win against Salzburg, and they have yet to lose. Atletico Madrid is also undefeated, so we have a clash between 2 undefeated teams. Atletico Madrid has 6 games played, 4 wins, 2 draws, no losses. They have scored 17 goals and conceded 6. Their last 3 games were a win, and a win. Their biggest win was against Celtic, being 6-0, and have yet to lose. So, both teams undefeated. Atletico Madrid winning 1 more game, then Inter drawing 1 more game, then Atletico. Now the big difference here is in terms of their form. Atletico Madrid are way better form, way better form than Inter, as they can win games more consistently, as opposed to Inter, where they've drawn 2. Whether that is from being in a winning position to drawing, or being in a losing position to drawing. And Atletico Madrid has won all 3 games. Another big difference is in their goals scored and goals conceded, the goal difference. Inter have scored 8 and conceded 5 in 6 matches, which is a +3 difference. But Atletico have scored 17 goals in 6 matches and only conceded 6, which is a +11 difference. In the terms of goals scored and goals conceded, Atletico Madrid are very good because they have almost the same amount of goals conceded and almost twice as much goals scored as opposed to Inter. So as you can see, Atletico Madrid is very good defensively, and as well very prolific going forward. And it's also very notable in their biggest win, as Inter's biggest win is a +1 goal difference and only beating Salzburg 2-1, as opposed to Real Madrid beating Celtic 6-0 with a clean sheet. So, for me, I believe that between Inter Milan and Atletico Madrid will go through. Moving on to the 5th fixture, we have PSV Eindhoven against Borussia Dortmund. PSV have played 6 games in the group stage, obviously we're not counting the playoff games to play in. 6 games in the group stage. They have won 2, drawn 3, and lost 1. They have scored 8 goals and conceded 10. Their last 3 games have been a draw, a win, and a win. Their biggest win is a 3-2 win against Sevilla, and their biggest loss is a 4-0 loss against Arsenal. Borussia Dortmund, on the other hand, again, 6 matches played, 3 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss, with 7 goals scored and 4 conceded. Their last 3 games have been a draw, a win, and a win, same as PSV. And their biggest biggest win is a 3-1 victory against AC Milan. And their biggest loss is against Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, and it was 2-0. Now, obviously, in terms of games won and games lost and drawn, they have a pretty similar record. Only difference, Borussia Dortmund has 1 more victory than PSV, and PSV has 1 more draw than Borussia Dortmund, but fairly similar. In terms of goals scored, fairly similar as well, with PSV scoring 8 and Borussia Dortmund scoring 7. But in terms of goals conceded, PSV have conceded more goals than they have scored, as opposed to Borussia Dortmund having a low goals scored on them. So, in terms of goal difference, PSV is -2, and Borussia Dortmund is +3. So, PSV is not that very good defensively, as you can also see in their goals, or their biggest has conceded more goals in their biggest victory, which is 2 goals. And Borussia has scored. I've only got conceded 1 when they won their biggest game. And when it comes to their biggest loss, Borussia Dortmund managed to keep it. It's the score being 2-0 as opposed to PSV being 4-0. So I do believe it's a fairly balanced game in terms of the stats and everything. The only big difference is the goal difference, in my opinion. Because even their form is very, it's not very, it is similar to draw, win-win. But I do believe that Borussia Dortmund will pull through. So between PSV and Borussia Dortmund, I have Borussia Dortmund going through. Moving on to the 6th match-up fixture. We have Lazio against Bayern. We have Lazio, who have played 6 games in the group stage, won 3, drawn 1, and lost 2. They have conceded 7 goals, or they have scored 7 goals, but they've also conceded 7 goals. Their last 3 games have been a loss, win-win. Their biggest win is a 2-0 victory against Celtic, and their biggest loss is a 3-1 defeat against Feyenoord. Bayern, on the other hand, have played 6 games, won 5, drawn 1, lost none, have scored 12 goals and conceded 6. The last 3 games have been a win, a draw, and a win. Biggest win was a 4-2 victory over Man United and have yet to lose. Now Lazio and Bayern undefeated, but there's a big difference in terms of their stats and wins and losses, where Bayern have won 5, Lazio won 3, and they both have the same amount of draws, but in terms of losses, Lazio have lost twice, and Bayern has not, or yet to lose. Goals scored, there's a big difference as well, where Lazio have scored 7 and Bayern have scored 12. In terms of goals conceded, they both have the same or similar amount of goals conceded, with Bayern having 6 and Lazio having 7, so not a big difference, but the difference is the difference between the goals scored and conceded. Lazio have 0 for their goal difference, scoring and conceding the same amount of goals, and Bayern has a +6 goal difference, where they have scored twice as many goals than they have conceded. So, and of course their last 3, their form the last 3 games, Bayern has been slightly better just because they both have the same amount of wins, but the only difference is that Lazio lost once in the last 3 games, and Bayern have managed to draw that game. So, between both these teams, I do believe that there's a clear winner, and in my opinion, between Lazio and Bayern, Bayern will go through. Moving on to match our fixture number 7. We have Copenhagen against Manchester City. So Copenhagen have played 6 matches in the group stage with 2 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses, scoring 8 goals, conceding 8 goals. Their last 3 games were a win, a draw, and a win. Their biggest win is a 4-3 victory against Man United, and their biggest loss is a 2-1 defeat to Bayern. Manchester City, on the other hand, have played 6 matches in the group stage, 6 wins, no draws, and no losses, so they are undefeated as well, scoring 18 goals and conceding 7 goals. Last 3 games were all victories, 3 wins. The biggest win is a 3-0 victory against Young Boys, and they have not they have yet to lose. Big difference, obviously, is in the games won, drawn, and lost. Man City has yet to draw or lose, so they have 6 wins, perfect record. As opposed to Copenhagen, fairly balanced ratio, with 2 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses, so not very balanced. There's a goal scored. There's a big difference between both teams, where Man City have scored 18 and Copenhagen scored 8. Goals conceded, both have similar goals conceded, but the difference is Man City have scored more than twice the amount of goals they have conceded. They have scored 18 and conceded 7. That is a plus 11 difference, which is crazy. I think, yeah, they have the most scored or goals scored out of all the teams in the group stage that have gone through the knockout, beating Atletico Madrid by 1 goal, which is crazy. It's really crazy. This team is too good. But yes, it's fairly obvious that there is a clear winner here, and it's really one-sided in terms of stats. Because again, I'm going based off stats. You can find these stats. I'm gonna leave it in the description down below, because I'm gonna leave a link where you guys can go and then you guys can check out the stats for yourself. And yeah, Man City's 3-0 against. Did I say that? I don't think I said that. That Man City's biggest win is 3-0 against Young Boys. But yeah, in my opinion, clear and obvious winner, and that is gonna be Manchester City, going on to the next round. The final fixture that we're gonna be going over is RB Leipzig against Real Madrid. Leipzig have played 6 games in the group stage, 4 wins, no draws, 2 losses, scored 13 goals, conceded 10. Last 3 games have been a win, a loss, and a win. Biggest victory was against Cervina, 3-1 victory, and the biggest loss was a 3-1 loss against Man City. Real Madrid, on the other hand, again, have played 6 games in the group stage, 6 wins, no losses and no draws, 16 goals conceded, 16 goals scored, 7 conceded. Last 3 games have been all victories, triple wins, 3 W's. Biggest win was a 4-2 victory over Napoli, and they have yet to lose. Again, I think this is going to be a pretty tight game, but I do believe Real Madrid will go through because of the heritage they have and they have in the Champions League and their history in it. They just always seem to find a way. Real Madrid have 6 wins, so 2 more wins over the Leipzig, and obviously no draws and no losses, and Leipzig has 2 losses. Both have closely similar goals scored, where Real Madrid have 16 and Leipzig have 13. Leipzig, on the other hand, have conceded 10 goals, and Real Madrid have conceded 7. And the goal difference being the difference again in this matchup, where Leipzig have a +3 goal difference, and Real Madrid have a plus, I believe it's a +9. Yeah, +9 goal difference. Their form, obviously Real Madrid better form. I've yet to lose a game, 3 wins, but Leipzig's form is pretty good as well, with losing once in the last 3 games and winning twice. The biggest win, obviously they both have a pretty decent big win, where Leipzig have beaten Cervina 3-1 and Napoli, or Real Madrid beating Napoli 4-2. And in terms of biggest loss, Real Madrid have yet to lose, and Leipzig have lost against Man City, which is respectable. The 3-1 loss, considering the amount of star power that Man City have, and are obviously Man City is obviously a candidate to win the whole tournament. But between Leipzig and Real Madrid, I think it's gonna be a tight game, pretty good game, pretty close game. But I do believe Real Madrid will pull through in the end. And yeah, guys, that is who I believe will go through the round of 16 onto the quarterfinals. So for the first fixture, we said Arsenal. The second fixture, we said Barcelona. Third fixture, we said Real Sociedad